Terror, Al Jazeera, Washington.
Well, as we heard earlier, the WikiLeaks documents show that the Saudis urged the US to take action against Iran. Well, joining us here in the studio is Arash Aramesh, who's a researcher with InsideIran.org. It's a project of the Century Foundation, a public policy research institution. Thanks a lot for joining us. I mean, there's a multitude of leaks here, 250,000 documents. For many, the most interesting leaks were regarding Iran and also, in particular, Gulf Arab leaders like King Abdullah in Saudi Arabia imploring, even begging the United States to take military action against Iran. Did that come as a surprise to you?
That was quite interesting. Inside Iran, Iranian leaders have always been very cautious when it comes down to the positions of the Saudi government and many other Arab states in the Gulf region. And it came quite as a surprise that how frank and straightforward King Abdullah was about requesting these attacks. But what is the case is that Arab leaders are quite aware and have been aware that attacks against Iran can be very destabilizing in the Persian Gulf region, because it could mean Iranian counterattacks against American installations in the region, some of which are in places like Doha, Qatar, Bahrain, and Kuwait.
So why would they then want attacks on Iran?
That is a very interesting question, and that is because the main reason Arab states are very uncomfortable with Iran is not the nuclear issue, in my opinion. Now, the nuclear program is very important to them, but their most pressing concern is Iran's growing influence in the region. And not only amongst the Shiite countries or Shiite majority countries in the region, but now Iran has expanded its influence in traditionally Sunni neighborhoods. Look at today, Prime Minister Hariri was in Tehran. Prime Minister Hariri, whose father and he himself did not have very good ties or relations with the Iranians or the Syrians, is in Tehran. And Iran has made tremendous gains in the past 5 years, or in the past 7 years, as a matter of fact, since the American invasion of Iraq and Afghanistan in the region. They are very concerned about Iran's influence, growing influence in the region, and that seems to be the main concern here. King Abdullah, what he said needs to be interpreted with a grain of salt, and because the WikiLeaks does not provide enough background as to how these comments were said, in what context these comments were said. But it is quite clear that the Saudis are very concerned about Iran's influence in the region.
How do you expect Iran to respond to the fallout from these leaks?
Iran is going to play these leaks first and foremost as a defeat for the American enemy. Especially to its domestic audience, Iran is going to play this as a diplomatic disaster for the Americans. However, Iran has always been wary of the Arab states in the region. So this is not going to come necessarily as a surprise for them, especially some Iranians have speculated or had speculated 6 months ago and a year ago that the Arab lobby here in Washington was working towards military strikes hand in hand with AIPAC. This is not going to be necessarily a surprise to them, but they are going to spend this, and also they are going to make some further gains on the streets of the Arab world, that the Arab leaders are seeking strike against another Muslim nation, which is not going to sit very well with the Arab streets.
Well, it's interesting to see how this is going to play out. Arash Aramesh, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us.